Nothing beats going to the store and buying a video game, holding the case, looking at the cover art, reading the back of the case or the box, and then you open that up and inside you'll find a disc or a cartridge and you're just looking at the art of that. It's just such a great feeling, something tangible. And then in most cases, video games have manuals. You go through the manual, read how to play the game, read stuff, or they have goodies like a map of the world, like in Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, and sometimes stickers and stuff like that, like Cyberpunk. And overall, it's just a wonderful feeling. It's just something that, most people take for granted. And, I tell you right now, the clock has officially started for the end of that feeling. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Sigma Duocast. I'm your host, Rick, and today I'm being joined by Greg, a.k.a. Terrashock Gaming, owner, proprietor, everything. He joins me today to cover a subject that was, let's just say it was a bombshell that was dropped on us today from Sony that I think is very important, very critical on the future of the video game industry. I just talked about it in the last episode, the Grand Theft Auto episode, about how they're going straight digital and how big of a deal that is, and being that's Rockstar and this is the most anticipated game. It's huge. It makes sense. But today, this morning, Sony announced that starting January 2028, they are discontinuing the production of physical discs. They are going strictly to a digital business model with their games, from PlayStation 5 to the inevitable PlayStation 6 and rumored next PlayStation handheld. In addition to that, they are going to be shutting down the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita storefronts, which we'll talk about that. And then we're really just going to be covering how digital, although is the future, it really at the end of the day just sucks. And so, again, Greg is joining me to talk about this. Welcome, Greg. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, except, yeah. What a day you've left on us, Sony. When I woke up this morning and the first thing I reach for is my phone and I see this Twitter notification, Sony's to discontinue, and I literally let out a big, what the hell? And my girlfriend Alice is like, well, you scared me. What is the big hubbub about? And I'm like, and she's like, oh, that's all it was?
Yeah.
But then we started going in deeper and deeper about it. And now even she, who's someone who's not so enthused, like you and I are in the gaming realm, is very upset because this is a bigger deal than I think most people probably realize, like at first. Like, I've seen some interesting discourse already on both sides, actually.
It's all over the place.
The physical side and the digital side of things. And it shocked me, but there are those people that do side with this, and I think those people do not quite understand how clearly that this is painted to be for, the ongoing future of the industry, and like how this will be. Like this, it doesn't affect them directly, but it does in a way.
It 100% is, and you're 100% correct. Like the feedback, the backlash, and the positivity is very slightly surprising and a little bit alarming for me. I'm going to share my thought. I mean, throughout the episode, we're going to share our thoughts and feelings. What I ultimately would like to cover, whether you're pro or negative on this whole thing, I just kind of want to paint the picture of what it truly means to have digital. And I know there's the group of individuals that digital is great, digital this, digital that. But again, I don't want to say that I don't think they understand. I think it's just more they don't care and they just like convenience.
It's the big main character energy. Like, oh, yeah, I'll just roll with it. And like, hey, it doesn't affect me. I'm fine. You know, I'm sitting here all cozy playing my digital games, and I'm a streamer, and I make this and that. Whatever, I got my games filled. Whatever it is, I'll roll with it.
I also think it's heavily PC like mentality.
Yep.
Because PC has been digital, it's been streaming, it's been Steam, it's you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, they have different stores that they can get it from, but the conditioning of digital, I think it's heavily coming from PC. And if the consoles, the next gen consoles via Xbox and PlayStation, that's the direction they're going, then I don't do PC myself. I know the benefits of PC, but I don't do PC. And if that's the case, I'll say right now, console gaming is dead to me. If this is if this is definitively the direction they go, so let's dive into the first headline from Sony, and it's going to be with and here's the thing, I'm going to read the actual statements from the Sid Schumann, who's the senior director of Sony Interactive Entertainment Content Communications. The wording in both of these statements is very, very interesting to me, where in most cases, the PS3 and Vita one, I feel this wording on this one, it kind of hints to the future of Sony and future plans of what they got going. So it's not too alarming for me when it comes to this one. The physical disc one's very alarming to me on how they word it, but let's go ahead and start off with the first one. So I'm going to read this. It's going to be an update on PlayStation Store for PS3 and PlayStation Vita. These changes start this year in select markets, followed by global changes in 2027. So 2027 is the big year. So here's the full statement here. After nearly 2 decades of supporting the PS3 console generation, we wanted to let you know we will be closing the PlayStation Store on PS3 as well as PS Vita. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close in select markets starting this year, followed by the global closures of the PS3 and PS Vita next year. That means new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PlayStation Store closes on these devices. To ease the transition, players will still be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date for the foreseeable future. As the PlayStation Store continues to evolve to support modern commerce systems, including updated payment processing standards, PS3 and PS Vita are no longer able to support these updates at the level required. As a result, we will need to close PlayStation Store on these devices in the timeframes as follow. It goes to show that Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua closes August 2026. Additional Latin America and Middle Eastern countries, late 2026. And for all other countries, this is the definitive date for everybody, July 2027. So a full year from now, they will be closing that. We know this news may be disappointing to PS3 and PS Vita players who hold a special place in their hearts for this generation of gaming. PS3 and PS Vita represents an important era in our PlayStation history, so this was not an easy decision for us to make. As we continue to expand the PlayStation experience on newer devices that most of our users are playing on today, we need to focus more of our resources on delivering the best gaming experiences on these platforms as well as we look towards the future. To our amazing players, we want to give you a heartfelt thanks for your ongoing passion and support, which has helped inspire us to shape PlayStation into what it is today. We are excited for the future ahead as we continue to push the boundaries of play. We look forward to having you in our journey with us as we explore the new game world and new adventures that have yet to come. So, my first quick points on this.
I just can't help but laugh at some of that. Like, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, who wrote this? Honest to God.
Sid Schumann. Hopefully he didn't use AI.
With a straight face is what I mean.
Here's the thing.
No, let's be real. There is no way this man wrote that. There's no way. Like, there's a boardroom of people here that are trying to come to this decision. Probably had some AI in there that tried to
100%.
This together.
Everything's like that now.
Like, that's why I'm saying, like, there is no. I know it's Sid Schumann that wrote this. Okay, whatever. I see what the author says or who it's from, but like, no straight human being who understands. And for a company like PlayStation, who has had such a legacy of like hardware installed in the homes of millions, you can't tell me that you thought this was a good idea.
Well, hold on. This is just closing the PS3 and Vita store. Like, honestly, this is inevitable. I mean, from what I'm taking from this, it's really just there's the e-commerce thing of security, because basically they're saying they're not going to be doing any more updates or anything. So if people are finding fraud, doing things like that, that's all going out the window. So they're closing. Nintendo did the same thing with 3DS and the Wii. They close the stores. They sunset them. They're done. You can still download games, but you can't purchase anything more. So this is nothing new, in my opinion. For me, it's just this is them officially saying the way I read all this is them officially saying, "Hey, we're done supporting the PS3 and the PlayStation Vita. What it is after July 2027, whatever's left of that product, that platform, that's what it is." It's after that, no more firmware updates, no nothing. They're not doing anything for it. So it's a done deal because they're going to be taking whatever resources they have that they use to maintain these. They're repurposing them because I wholeheartedly believe they are going to be creating a new handheld, the PS Vita sequel or whatever you want to call it. So I feel that that's what they're focusing on. They're moving away from PS3. So now they have PS4, PS5 ecosystems to worry about and the inevitable PS6. And since they're going the whole digital front, as we'll talk about in the next segment, it only makes sense for them to alleviate as much as they can from other stuff so they don't have to worry about it. So it doesn't, this news doesn't surprise me. I think the main thing to take away from this, from the main topic that we are going to be discussing throughout today, is the fact that they can just shut a digital store down and you cannot buy anything else. If your business model is to go strictly digital, which that's what is heading to, this is telling you at some point, I mean, the PS Vita and PS3 are not that old, but
the money that you're investing into this hardware that is built around this entire market can die in a moment's notice.
Exactly.
And sorry, your hardware is useless now. Practically useless.
Yeah. Well, for these ones, they're still physical content, so they can still use physical. No, I mean, I get that. As far as anything that requires online, that's a different problem. Now, do know it's the store that's being shut down. I don't know. They haven't mentioned anything about the servers being shut down. So once they close servers for online play, then that stuff is fully donezo. So yeah, okay. So that's the first part of this whole thing. Is the main thing I want people to take away from the segment one is that digital stores can be shut down, and that hints to the control that Sony and these companies have. That's the critical thing to take away. If you have a PS3 or Vita and you still go ahead.
Isn't this technically their second time trying to do this? Because I remember they tried to shut it down once already.
Oh yeah, and they got backlash and they course corrected. So here's the thing. I'm going to say this real quick, and I don't want to segue too far from it, but I want to say this early. Sony are cowards. Yeah. They are cowards because
I knew you were
this whole physical media thing. Xbox, I will die on my grave for this. And what's funny is there's clips now circulating online when E3 2013, when Xbox One and I believe PS4 were coming out. The plan was to make disc DRM. This was the first attempt not to go digital, but to make the discs essentially licensed to you, and you cannot share it. Nobody can borrow it. You can't resell. They're eliminating the competition. Yeah. So that was the plan. I remember Xbox, Sony, EA, Ubisoft. They were all like leaked before the E3 talking about this stuff, and it was a big thing. Xbox went first that E3, and they announced this. And they got the biggest backlash ever. And like cowards, Sony immediately changed their business format. They scrapped that whole DRM thing. Ubisoft everybody abandoned ship because they saw the backlash that Microsoft got, to the point where Sony literally made a video of them taking a deep shot at Xbox, literally you can tell this was done at the convention. Like it was done that night where it was, I forgot the two heads of Sony, and they're like, "Hey, can I play that game? How can I borrow that? How can I play that game?" And he just like hands them a copy like this.
PS4.
And it's PS4. And then everybody ate that shit up. It was the most annoyingest thing I've ever seen in my life, and they're cowards. Sony has since then made announcements of other things of closure, whether it was the PlayStation Store before, there was something else they were going to do. Backlash, and they pivot. They instant pivot. So I'll tell you right now, it would not shock me one bit if in the next couple weeks or by January 2028, all this stuff gets undone, the physical media stuff, because again, Sony, they're cowards. Anyways, let's go to the next segment.
I knew you were going to bring this up. I knew 100%, especially knowing the company that we're talking about here. I knew that was somehow going to come up in the conversation. And I stand by you on that because the evidence is so clear.
Yeah, it's there. So again, for segment 1, we talked about how they can close the digital store and you'd have no access to it. It's done deal. Okay. Segment 2, recently, Sony announced over 550 digitally purchased Studio Canal movies and TV shows will be permanently removed from PlayStation users' video libraries starting September 1st in 2026. Now, do note that this is only in the UK and the Europe area, but it goes to show that they are removing digital content. And they're not going to be providing any type of refunds or anything because they have said the storefront terms specify that users buy a renewable license to view content rather than outright ownership. Sony is not providing refunds for the lost media. So there you go. 500. If you bought any of those movies in the UK, Europe area, they're now getting rid of it. You're not buying things. I've said this before. We've talked about this. You're licensing these items. You're not owning jack nothing. When you click buy, you're clicking, let me borrow it. Let me rent it. Let me license it. What are your take on this portion segment, whether it's the specific example or just the generalization of licensing?
I'd say it's been a discussion that in my home we've had a lot of talk about, because you could literally be watching, for example, something as great as, Ozark, and then Netflix decides, nah, forget it, it's gone, leaving this platform. In fact, you see a section on this on Netflix and other platforms all the time for streaming, like leaving soon. And that's the reason that you may have subscribed or signed up for it. And now it's like, oh, no, I don't have it anymore. No, I don't have it. But it's like, I don't have access to it. So, for me, Alice and I are really trying hard to obtain more of these physical formats of movies and shows, things that we want to watch, because these are things that we also want to show our son one day, in the future, things like that. But we can't do that if they keep holding us back from accessing it. And even just the discussion about lost media, about like how there are certain TV shows, episodes, or movies, or even documentary series, things like that just go completely off the web because one company said, you know what, never mind, I changed my mind. I don't want you to have it, even though you put money towards it. Mm-hmm. And it's literally gone forever, or very hard to obtain unless you own that physical. Like here, one of my favorite examples is literally a SpongeBob episode that is seemingly banned from all over the internet that you just cannot find anymore unless you had it on DVD.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that bad, in my opinion. We don't have to get into the depths of that, but it's like you can't access that at all.
Yeah.
It's just pure anti-consumer. That's just the simplest way to put it. It's that if I bought something, I should have it. But at the same time, I get the business side of it, like that, oh, well, we have reserved the right to remove this or change things at will and at any moment, right? But then what did I put money into this for? Yeah. It's gone. It's like I'm basically burning money. I'm throwing it away.
100%.
And I'm not seeing anything in return for it at all. And it's leaving me confused as to how we even kind of thought that this was a good idea in the first place, to let people digitally buy things because you don't actually own it.
Well, it's control. At the end of the day, it's control. And to your point,
it's to keep money in their pockets.
Yeah, 100%. It's to control the profit. And to your point, I love the example you gave. I also have an example for that. The Office is a very popular show, and there's an episode where Dwight's Christmas, where the guy Nate does blackface based on the lore, and that was deemed racist. And on the digital versions, they removed that scene completely. So the only way to see that scene now is if you were able to find the DVD. I don't know if they did it on Blu-ray at the time, but the DVD box set, and you find that episode because they can't alter the physical media outside if it's like newly printed. But no, I mean, to your point, I mean, digital is you're renting, you're borrowing. It's not something tangible. You don't really own it, and there's so much restriction to it, whether it's the company itself, that the servers and everything that have it, or it's, you don't have internet access, or there's data corruption, or your account goes sideways. Like, there's just so many ways to not have it, and once it's gone, it's like, what do I do? I can't do anything about it. Yeah, I again,
whether it's game, movies, music, any kind of software, cloud storage, or even as of lately, car features with Teslas, subscriptions, right? Like, that one's wild to me. They create more predictable income than selling a product at once, right? Mm-hmm. The trade-off is that consumers, normies, right, will often end up, choosing access instead of accepting that they lose ownership. They'll trade off for that. Yeah. And it's proven that they'll do that because it's easier that way. It's convenience, right? But I don't see how, at least in my mind, I don't see how access is more valuable than ownership, because you're saying it's okay to add a $15 or $20 or $30, I don't want to say over it, because not everything is literally subscription based, but I do believe that is the direction we are full-heartedly heading into for quite literally everything, especially with the next subject matter of PlayStation that we're going to get into. But like, you're telling me that you would rather throw your hard-earned money of 15, 20, 30, whatever dollars you want to throw at it for
80.
A subscription. 80, right?
They're going to get up there really high.
It doesn't matter. You'd rather throw that.
Paid all up front.
But never see a dollar of that come back.
No, there's no investment.
I can't share that with anyone. Yeah. I can't give that to my son. I can't give that to, my neighbor or to my coworker. I can't give it to you. I can't share that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing tangible to it. It's gone. Like, there's nothing to speak for it.
Yeah.
The more the industry pushes towards this, the more attractive owning this curated collection becomes. And I think, again, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but we're going to get to that, like, where people don't want to, continue putting more and more money into things in every direction. That's why I use the examples of games, movies, music, even now car features, which is ridiculous to say, right? So, I mean, yeah.
So let's.
My head is spinning here, bro. It's too much.
Let's.
I think this is literally my breaking point.
Let's segue to the third segment, and I'm going to read the statement because the statement's hilarious to me, because to your point, this according to the statement, it covers things. So just to recap, segment 1, we talked about how it can be easily taken away in terms of a storefront. Segment 2, we talked about how even easier it is to just take away the actual digital file or whatever you don't have. So again, we're painting, I'm sorry, but we are painting digital in a bad light. Now let's get to the main thing of what we got going on here. So I'm going to read the statement. It is from Sid Schumann again. And again, pay attention to what he says here, because what he says I do have a problem with, but at the same time, it is what it is. All right. So headline is physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. Follows. In response to shifting trends in consumer preferences, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. As consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from the physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class gaming experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. So this is basically saying, what I'm reading is that we, the people, the consumer, are at fault and want digital.
Yeah, guys, because I love digital code. You know, I love characters and numbers to give me a game, and I love not holding anything tangible. You know, that's a great gift, guys. Wonderful. Fantastic. When I look at shelf of games, I can tell you where I got them, you know, and I can tell you, you know, who I played with and what was happening in my life at that time. And a digital library just doesn't create that same sensation for me at all. I mean, look right behind you. Look at all that stuff that you've got right there that literally you could speak to. You could atone, like, you know, your emotions and stuff to. You can pass that on. I understand why companies like Sony would be wanting to move towards digital. It costs less, apparently. You know, we're talking about literally pennies of a profit margin here that I think that we're saving in the grand scheme of things. Honest to God.
Well,
you know,
I mean, no, there's a higher profit margin when it comes to Sony. I mean, so the benefits for them going digital is that it is higher profit margins because there's no manufacturing, there's no shipping, there's no retailer cut, there's no used market. It's instant sales, yep. And it's a complete control of the ecosystem. At the end of the day, to me, this isn't about Sony doing this for consumers. I believe that this is going to benefit them in the long run, obviously financially, and just to have control. This is potentially a way to try and combat piracy and things of that nature, leaks. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what I ultimately see from this is it's just them being able to say, hey, look, we're going to get that full sale. We don't have to create anything for it. I don't even think like this whole digital thing. What does that mean in retailers? Digital retailers is just going to be like a gift card rack. Remember when we used to have at GameStop
in a
those
box, like Grand Theft Auto 6?
No, I don't even think they'll go that far. I don't think they'll go that far. I think they will fully eliminate everything. They won't have cases. They won't have nothing. It would just be a card on the wall. You scan it and you print it on the receipt. Just like how it used to be done at GameStop with some of the digital stuff. You would just grab a little card, scan it, boom. I don't even think they'll even give us a card that you'll take home. It's just going to be, you know, a little marketing card, and that's it. I'm going to be very transparent with my thoughts on this. First one is Sony specific. I can give two shit cents. I hardly play my PlayStation. Going digital only. I have no room in my PS5. I have the regular PS5. I got like 4 games installed and I'm already maxed out. I want to buy more memory, but memory is like crazy expensive. It's like the price of a whole brand new PS5. So I'm not doing that. And so I'm sorry, like it doesn't impact me in any way because I can care less about Sony games. The only thing I care about Sony games is Spider-Man from Insomniac. And that's really it. I don't care about anything else that they produce or make. I am playing Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PS5. But now it's available on Xbox, but I'm just sticking on the PS5. So for me, when it comes to Sony, I don't care. I don't do my gaming. I don't really game on console to begin with, but I don't do none of my gaming on PlayStation. I do play the Xbox more in terms of online gameplay and stuff like that. But again, I don't play that much when it comes to both of those. Nintendo has been my main one, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But overall, I don't care about Sony. I don't care that they're doing this. Fine. Like I said, it doesn't hurt me in any way.
It doesn't impact me either.
But in terms of the gaming industry in its whole, because Sony does have a large footprint in the gaming industry now, if Xbox decides to go that direction as well, then, I mean, we're just screwed. That sucks. Digital in general, I'm not for it. I like tangible. I like physical media. I like having the disc. Even though we've already said in the past that most discs on PlayStation and Xbox, they're just product keys. They're not even the full game on disc. So I feel this was inevitable. The bigger these games get, the more updates, online connectivity they need. This was going to be the direction we were going. It's just very sad that it is now officially in 2 years' time getting to that point. So
right.
It is what it is. But to me, if this is the future of gaming, like I'm done with console gaming. Like,
yeah,
it'll be very rare. I mean, the consoles are becoming way more expensive now. And then we're going to have way more expensive games. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a console just to play one game. So
right. It doesn't affect me directly either. I mean, I speak as a PlayStation 5 owner. It is primarily our Blu-ray and DVD player. Honestly. Like, I literally just used it yesterday morning just to pop in a movie, and it works great for that. but that, I could get also just a standard Blu-ray or DVD player for that. I don't need a PS5 for that.
Right.
But even then, those are kind of hard to come by and hard to find. But
which is weird.
It is, isn't it? But at the same time, it's not, because look at the direction that they're trying to head everything.
Streaming.
They're trying to make everything digital, but also not, right? Because just like we talked about, they could revoke any of this at any single moment. So then to see a blog post followed up immediately right afterwards saying we're going all digital seems pretty sour to me. It's like, hey, we could take away your stuff, and no, we're not doing anything about it. Despite you fronting all this money forward about it. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be our future. And so I hope you just, it sucks to suck. And I hope you are okay with that. Right. So, I mean, it's just such a weird feeling, and I don't think anyone I don't think anyone's okay with this. Sony should not expect us to feel rational about this. If they do, I mean, then they're living on another side of another planet, because it's such a small thing to me, because they're shooting themselves in their own foot. You mentioned something to me that I was as you were talking, I was thinking about it. As these games keep getting bigger, right? Bigger games, bigger memory, bigger distribution, and trying to cut out the middleman and all this other stuff just to turn a profit. And yeah, as a business, I see it. They will turn a bigger profit by being direct to consumer, going digital, right? The problem that I feel like that we're having isn't that. It's that these games are getting bigger and more ambitious to the point where I feel like it's over the top. We're losing a bit of the charm of what makes a game fun in the first place. We tried to get so it needs to be open world and detailed, and it needs to look so photorealistic that I can't even tell the difference between that being, a real photo, a real video, and then a video game. Yeah, these games are getting massive. GTA 6 is rumored to be 250 plus gigs, right?
Allegedly.
Maybe more.
That's what they're saying.
Allegedly, right? That's to me is kind of the problem, because if these games are getting bigger and the memory is getting more costly, then how can you afford to deliver such a game, to this market, which has been very cozy and familiar with the $250 to max $700 price tag for consoles, right? But now we're pushing smartphone territory. It's not that simple. It's not that easy, I think, for people to transition to. So they figure, let's remove the hurdle, which is let's just go straight to digital. But again, it doesn't. It still doesn't help. Right?
I think
so.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just still processing everything. It's honestly, this is one of the weirdest things I've ever thought I was ever going to talk about, because we mentioned it time and time again, all digital future, and now coming. Like you said in the beginning, the clock is ticking, right? And it just doesn't feel real to me. So as we sit here talking about this, my thoughts are still not coherent, admittedly.
I think,
and I'm trying to articulate more thorough thoughts. More keep coming to me, and I keep getting more emotionally wrapped up around it. It's not okay. It's not okay. And, we could say Nintendo's big and all, but in the West, PlayStation's a more recognizable brand. In my opinion, it's a more recognizable brand. It's white mainstream, right? And so developers who, like you said, like as they're a well-known brand, like developers are playing, making games on their platforms. If this is the only format that they're offering, then, other developers who develop cross-plats will go, well, we don't need to do physical for the other two either. And then that's where it becomes a problem. That's where it becomes a little concerning for me.
So a couple things to what you said, to response to what you said. First, I'm going to hopefully I remember these. I should have written them down as I was thinking. First one is, I don't think the size of it has anything to do with it, whether it's a large file or a small file. I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think there's two critical components, maybe three critical components that they're willing to have these outweigh what passionate collectors and fans are in having something physical. And the first one's always going to be the cost. It's the cost to make it. This is why a lot of even indie games are never made physical, because it's too expensive. They're trying to make their money for their games, for their indie games, and it's cheaper to just release it digital only. You make a lot more money digital only versus trying to produce it into a package in any shape or form. So a lot of indie games, whether it's like not even a gig size, they're going to go digital because it's cheaper. It's just cheaper that way. Secondly, I think it's the control. It's the guarantee sales. What this is going to do, it's going to eliminate a market. It's going to eliminate an ecosystem of sell, trade, whatever you want to call it. That's going away.
Yeah.
And you're going to streamline, because to some people's points, it's like, hey, I can buy video game, let's say hypothetically Gran Turismo 7 on Amazon for like $30 because it's on sale, but on digital on the PlayStation Store it's full price $80. If your only option is going to be that $80, guess what? Sony's coming up on that, so there's profit there. So again, is it consumer friendly in terms of pricing and options? No, not at all. And we're not going to get that option. We're not going to get that at all. Now, I do hope, if that's the direction, that there's some contingencies in play, like cheaper prices on digital games, finding a way to share a license versus being strict to your account. Like, there's got to be things that they got to allow somehow, so then that way it doesn't feel like I'm spending $80 on a game, it's tied to my account, and that's that. I can't share this game to anyone. I can't let no one borrow it. I can't resell it. I can't do anything with it. So at the end of the day, control and profit is going to be the two things that outweigh game preservation, history, all that stuff. Because we're not going to be able to play if Grand Theft Auto stays digital, for example, 20, 30 years from now, we won't ever be able to go back to play it. But here's the thing. There's only a small group of people that are going to be like, let's say 30 years from now, I want to go back and play GTA 6. The key thing from that, the key takeaway from that statement is consumer trend. Now, the consumer trend, what he's saying there, it's not, hey, we did a survey and we spoke to all our fans and all the people, a good majority, and this is what they told us. No, their facts, their consumer trend is, here's Gran Turismo 7. We sold, a million copies physical. Here's Gran Turismo 7 on the digital, and we've sold 7 million copies. That's the trend they're looking at, is this version sold this. And I'll tell you what, that might be true, because like for me, and we've talked about this, digital for me is convenient. I don't like buying digital as like the main, that's the only thing I have. I like to double dip. Right. They get double paid on my end. I'll buy a digital just so convenience, and then I'll buy the physical copy because I want to own it. I want to have it. I want to future play it in case. I
did that with Metroid. Absolutely.
Same here.
Especially for games that I feel like deserve the extra support, for a series like Metroid, I will do that. I want to preserve and own my copy, but I also want to be able to have the convenience of being able to swap and jump right into it whenever I can.
Exactly.
Between other games.
And so I think that's what's happening here is, at the end of the day, Sony's seen that and they're finding it cheaper. And then you think about console production, PlayStation 6, how much would it be? Can we make it cheaper by removing the disk drive? Sure. Can we offset the price of what memory's at right now by removing the disk drive or removing certain components or less power? Like, there's a lot of things to it that the future is. I mean, imagine they released a new handheld and it's strictly digital, which they have done that in the past, and that shit did not last. I'll tell you right now, which was the PSP Go. That thing was a travesty, but that's the direction they're going. So my thing is, and I want to wrap it up with this final segment, is, and I know you and I are going to be with a big old grin on our face. Nintendo, the ever so thoughtful company for consumers and their own people, as they all just got raises recently. What video game company is doing that? They got criticized. We've talked about it in the previous cast. I talked about it in the GTA episode. We talked about it in you and I in the last couple episodes that we were on. They've been criticized for identifying their game key cards, digital, and then their physical games.
Yep.
And
even I admit to some extent I was critical of it as well.
You were critical on the game keys, and I've been since day one. I've been prompted. I mean, the first game I bought on my Switch 2 was Yakuza 0, which was a game key game. I am all for game keys, and I'll say it again in just a moment for those that don't understand what the freaking hell a game key is. But so when Nintendo announced all this and they clarified this stuff for their consumers, all the people started hating Sony. Oh yeah, we're great. Look at all the physical games. We have the ones that have, and now they announce this crap and you're like, oh, actually, no, you're screwed. You're done. It's game over for you. Nintendo is going to me, in the gaming world, this is why Nintendo 20, 30, 40, 100 years from now are going to continue growing, continue going strong, no matter what the president is, because we all know Father Time comes for everyone, and we're going to lose some great developers, innovators, and presidents, and everyone involved in Nintendo. They're going to continue the tradition going because they have a business model, and they have what's passionate, and it's gaming, true gaming, and the culture and the legacy is what's most important to Nintendo, where PlayStation and Microsoft, it's about the money. And Nintendo's never been about the money. They've been about...
But the money comes for them because they lead with the right choices.
100%. So I'm excited that they continue to use game key cards, because the difference between a game key card and a platform going full digital is, yes, game key cards are digital games as everything else. But that cartridge, the license is on that cartridge. The key is on that game key. That's the difference.
Do me a favor really quick. Check your phone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw.
I clicked on it. I clicked on it, but I didn't. Something in this room needs addressing. I'm looking at a picture of Nintendo Wonder where it's Mario as the elephant.
In the room. And that tweet was posted shortly after PlayStation's announcement.
Something in this room needs addressing. What is? I don't get it.
The elephant in the room.
I'm so dumb. The elephant in the room, because it's Mario dressed as an elephant.
And they are aware of the discourse.
Not only that,
is that not the sickest tweet that Nintendo's ever dropped?
Well, did you see Nintendo's other one, aka Xbox other one? They did. They announced that Elder Scrolls of Oblivion is coming to the Switch, and they're like, "Give it to me!" And he brings out the game, the actual cartridge. The game's on the cartridge, which I'm trying to fucking reserve. I can't reserve it, dude. I'm telling you, Nintendo.
It's sold out.
Nintendo's the future. Nintendo is it. They know what they're doing. They have the physical. I hope more transition to physical, but even if not, if they go with the digital game keys, perfect, because you can sell, you can trade, you can share that around, you can do so much with it. That is how you share a digital game. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I want to bring it full circle.
I'm perfectly okay with both of these. I'm perfectly okay with both of these.
He's holding up Final Fantasy VII game key and then the Star Fox Nintendo Switch 2 game cases for those listening.
Both of these are perfectly acceptable forms of physical media for me, and I will continue buying these and supporting these for the foreseeable future.
I just need more memory, Nintendo.
I
need an affordable terabyte memory card. That's all I need. Yeah.
Hey man, if you need a terabyte, I got you. Just let me know.
All right. So final thoughts, bringing it all full circle. We got digital pros. It's convenient, instant downloads. So you got no damage to disk. You can do preloads. Some have game sharing. I don't think really that much. Remote purchases, less clutter. Digital is the way to go for consumers with those points. Physical pros is ownership, collectability, resale value, lending to friends, preservation, no dependency on online store fronts. So those are your pros for consumers. It's heavily pro for the commercial side of it, the retailers. What are your final thoughts? And then we will be wrapping up this episode today.
At the end of the day, I worry that we're raising a generation that values access over ownership. And then at the end of the day, too, this isn't really a conversation about plastic cases or discs, but it's just about consumer rights. Like when does it actually mean, what does it actually mean to own something in a digital landscape? If the future is completely digital, then companies have an even greater responsibility to preserve what they sell. Otherwise, we're just building an industry where entire generations of media could just disappear. And I don't think physical media is just purely about nostalgia, like some people may be leading with, but it's about permanence. It's about knowing that decades from now, I could still pull a game off that shelf, put it in a console, and experience a part of that history. You could do that right now with an NES or a PlayStation 1. It's not about nostalgia. It's about permanence. Knowing that decades from now, it's there. And it's preserving game history. There's literal artists and hands that are put into the work that is created for us to experience. You telling me I never get to experience something that this, team made that's like a beautiful work of art? I mean, games are art. And it deserves to be preserved just like any other art should.
Well said. I will leave the listeners with, this episode wasn't really about Sony. Sony simply happened to be the company that made the announcement. This is about where the entire industry is heading. Whether you're on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or PC, the future is overwhelmingly digital. The real question isn't whether physical games are ending. It's whether we're comfortable giving up ownership in exchange for convenience. Thank you, Greg, for joining me today. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to follow, link, whatever, the whole 9 yards on everything. Until next time, guys.